All right. Where are we? There we are. What's going on? How we doing? How we doing, everybody? Let me settle in. We'll let everybody else settle in, find their seats, and we will get underway momentarily. But first, slurpy slurpy to you and yours. I think I'm gonna hang out in a. Everyone needs help. There we are. Hang out in the Dungeon Alchemist Discord over there. If you don't know, now you know. Go find yourself an invite. It's very easy. You just go to Google Dungeon Alchemist, go to their site, and get the code. Or if you want, send me a message in chat, and I will give you an invite link as well to the community. Uh, let's see. We don't need that right now. Let's get our world up. Let's get our managerial up. Doom, doom, dun, dun. Yeah. Stream managerial. Very nice. I got it super dark so I can save the battery because I'm lazy and I don't want to go and plug it in. That's okay. I can still see. Harnessed power. What's this? Someone got fancy with a large pedestal. We love it. We love it. All right. Let's bring y'all over. I'm feeling super fit today. I got my teal on. We're looking good in the teal basket. Hello there over on Kick. Looks like we got someone coming in. I guess we can just go ahead and begin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are. I am the Caretographer, and today we are doing commissionable maps. My client has requested a riverside village. I have some photo imagery that they would like to use. I have the battle maps that they have been using in place of what I'm going to give them. So I have kind of some direction, but I definitely have. I've made sure to acquire full creative freedom on the project because larger projects like this, I don't want to get caught in the weeds of having to do super specific stuff. Sometimes things can look really good if I am allowed to kind of do what I do and what I see, as I am the creator, the curator, the artist, if you will. So I recommend. I've always done this personally with my hair. Um, I'll tell them the do's and the don'ts about my hair, But then once I give them that, I say, "You're the hairstylist. Like, go off, cook. Like, let me see what you got, right?" And more times than not, they're able to, use their experience for the best, and they see things in your hair, and they try to go with what styles are most modern or in or popular, right? Unless you have a certain specific, but I'm not. That's not me. Like, I just want it to look good. right? So I don't want to tell them, hey, I really want this, like, la, 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 and then they struggle to get it because I don't know left and right about my hair. I know I have the cowlick, I know I have a widow's peak, right? But other than that, like, I don't know how hair falls. I don't, so let the professionals be the professionals. Moral of the story. But here we are. So I had gotten the go ahead on both of these buildings that I had done yesterday. I need to come in here and throw something down above these because I want to hide those. I don't want those visible. Then lighting of this entire place is gonna be a whole nother object of desire. But yeah, so we got the prison here. I just did a real basic like. Um, I think no. Yeah. Notice board. I was like putting things inside the building. You know it. Let's see. I like these file cabinets. I think they look very prison-y. Do I want to do like a little counter doorway over here? Gotta make this look like businessy. So we need a couple benches. Let's start with the benches. Dum, dum, bum, 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 bum. I have to do something like this. We also kind of like that. Yeah, we do kind of like that. It's a very nice waiting area. It's very hospital. It's very waiting room. It gives sit in the corner until we're ready for you. Is what I'm is what I'm getting. Let's see. Don't need it. I guess we'll just leave that open. Maybe like a carpet or something. Um. Let's see what's got in the dungeon, yeah. To the dungeon! I was going for less of a dungeon and more of like a jail feel. Huge ball and chains. Alright, let's see. Not books. I want like drawers, almost like a library drawers. Where they keep notes of stuff. What else might they have out here? Notice board, some things here. More area, maybe just like a sitting table. Something mid-class, middle classish. I think this is good. Maybe we'll put it right here. We don't. That's why we kept that one there because it's not even in the middle. So let's keep it as a cute little window. And honestly, like, see, I'm trying to like match up these circles, so it almost looks like it's coming out of the thing. I really like doing that because, it just looks good. Like when you blur everything and move the map in and out, it just looks better. Clean stuff looks better. Chairs. We have the Dinky Doodle chairs. New stools, that's cool. So new chair options, we love it. We'll start with that one. Yeah, trying to use this darker wood. And actually, before we go any further, over here, make you a bit smaller. Make you a bit smaller. Nice, just like that. And so this is something that I've noticed as I work with the program a bit more. Is a lot. Before I used to get super peeved out by these wood coats not matching, and I'd be like, why can't I find a coat that matches? Yada 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 yada. But like if I was to use a chair that was the same color as this, you know, it almost disappears, right? Like it doesn't stand out at all. It's kind of nice having some contrasting colors when you're doing an all wood build. If you had a wooden floor on there, it would get even more blurry, right? So I really love that table there. It's a perfect call. I really love utilizing that to my advantage. I would still like, as a creator, as a person who wants all the tools, to be able to match them when I want to, but I think it's fine and just something that you can very easily work around into your favor in that regard. Let's get some bureaus. No, it should be in here. This thing's always so huge. I think we're gonna have this one in the middle. I'm so off grid. I might as well just not even freaking turn it on. I gotta stop slouching, slunching. Sit proper. Let's go chest. That's probably better to go here and just look at them all. Chest. It's like doing foot chests. These guys are the best to put at the bottom of beds. I don't even think I necessarily need these in here. Because it's crooked, I have to look at it crooked. Is how my brain works for some reason. So normally I would do like footer chests, like little personnel chests, but I think because of the bunk beds and the nature of the room here, I think it's makes more sense for these to be smaller and on the side like such. And I got rid of those beams because I want, if my DM wants, the ability to have things inside those. They do. Let's see. Ooh, a containment chest? What's this thing do? Ooh, interesting. It's like the fat lock on the top. I like that. Let's get ourselves a rig. I think this fits perfectly. We love that. Gorgeous. Something should be in the center of this room. Maybe here. Here. I could very easily chop that off if I wanted to. And I gotta come over here and make another room over here. But I have the space, so I didn't want to chop this building off. I thought it's a prison building. You need, room for the jailer, room for employees, deputies. So that's kind of what I figured with all that. And I figured that because it's a fairly large village, We have this large warehouse. We have an inn that will probably be able to hold, say, 20 some odd people. We have this house, and this is a ruined building, so I'm thinking like a 30, 40 person village, easy. That actually has like some trade and some business. They have a blacksmith and a warehouse, right? They live on a river. There's this bridge here, which is probably an important bridge for crossing. Know what I'm saying? We're jamming right now. I like this beat a lot. know if I'm gonna be able to do this like I've done in the past. These make the best shutters, but this window's just too small. Yeah, if I had square windows, it would make more sense. I think I might change these windows. There we are. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm thinking. Give it a front appeal and a back appeal. I'm not sure. Let's finish designing the interior here. Let's see, furnitures, desks, still hunching, still leaning. One day I'll stop my poor posture. So I would like to say, you know, it's like a 10-foot desk and a 5-foot chair is a little large for base size. Just saying. Maybe like 5, 6 foot is a bit more appropriate. And I like that we got some like matching going on with this red. Ew, no, it's gotta go the other way. End table, nightstand, one or the other. This is why I like, when I know what the item is that I want, I prefer, I'll hit tab. I prefer you just searching stuff. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to like dig around or click around. I don't have to scroll around. Thanks, Coffee Bot. I wish there was a Patreon bot. I'm sure there's a way to make one, but I'm a little illiterate when it comes to doing all this stuff. Only a little. Just a classic steel lamp, mid-class here. So yeah, this is something I definitely have noticed. Is if you try to do things to scale building-wise, they sometimes can go a little awry. The base scale of the items. Like for example, this canteen, like this lamp. they're just like not really practical in size. Like this room is 1, 2, 3, 4, so 10 by 30. 10 by 30. This room is right. My room that I'm in right now is about 10 by 10, and it feels much bigger than this little tiny dinky little room here. Um, Things are a bit more spacious, I guess, in real life. Or items are a bit smaller. Oh, I need another piece. So sometimes you gotta do some little pocket scaling and check in on some items. I think when you're doing like larger builds, it's kind of nice to a certain extent, as it fills more space for you, right? So like if you have a room that's like 20 tiles by 20 tiles, which in reality is what 5 times 20 is 100. It's 100 foot by 100 foot. That's like a ballroom, that's like that's large. But filling that can be very difficult. So it's nice to have the bigger items. But I think, especially in this little small room, it's who of me to. I think this ink vial is always way too big. That looks bad. That looks bad. Whoa, yeah. Do some candles on a labra. Turn the candle off. Do some paper. Do first an official writ. Put you up there. Stacks of papers. I should be able to stick these coming out of the. Very important paper, important scroll, obscure stacks of paper. Then we'll put maybe like a nice artifact. What's up, Gail? Sims 4, yeah? Scuba labor dow. Yeah, you gotta make it look lived in, baby. This is what, I mean, honestly, this is really where I think my maps are set apart a little bit. I take the time to sit in the room and pretend like I'm playing Sims, right? I'm like, hey, I am the jailer. What do I need, right? Like, I imagine it. I'm like, oh, well, the jailer, probably has a lot of paperwork. They probably have a very simple and militant type room. Very very to the point, and they have what they need and no accessories, right? Every room needs a bed. Every bed needs a closet. Every closet needs some storage for personnel. So I like to kind of take that angle, that direction. um I need to fill in. I'm blanking on what to do in here. I'm like, what would you need in here? Handcuffs, shackles. Oh. And also, hey, what's up? How you doing, Galaxians? I think I finally got the pronunciation correct. It's kind of like my name, where it's like cartographer, but you have to say caretographer, right? Caretographer. You're like Galaxian, but Gale. Galaxian. Is that right? I think I nailed it, and it's cute because we both have that little extra e for just for funsies. Let's see, a bowl of fruit. I love that we have that in common. Oh, rat splaggett! I'm gonna have to make my own bowl of fruit. They're doing this to me. I think the clay is gonna look nicely. How you doing today, Gail? Some apples. Where the apples? I hate scrolling. Apple. Well, that's good to hear. Sometimes, that's good enough, right? I'll take the okays. I'll take the all rights. Every day doesn't have to be the best day. I think the more years we live, the more true that becomes, right? You're like, hey, a regular day doesn't sound so bad. We're going too crazy. We gotta think here. So this is another one of those let's think things. These people would not have the means of having a bowl of grapes, a bowl of apples, and oranges all in one. This is not 2024, right? Those things don't all grow in the same place. There we are. It's a beautiful bowl. Right? Like they would have an apple orchard maybe nearby, and that's it. Like it's pretty much like where I live, right? I think it's kind of, that's how I got to the idea. I thought apples, and I'm like, wait a second, we don't have orange trees where I live. Like we don't have that. We can grow corn. We actually have a fairly good growing climate, but like we don't grow oranges, and we don't grow grapes. We don't have good soil for grapes. It's not something that's grown out here. We don't have enough space. So thinking very similar maybe with this. Bowl of fruit and some cutlery. I'm just thinking like maybe some cups. It's like a basic breakfast scene. Oh, you know what? Actually, better than that. Better idea than that. We'll do a cupboard. I don't like that over here. Put it back over there. We'll just do our own little thingy dangy. Find some dark mahogany. And I tend to like to do this myself personally. Watch what I'll do. Do do yeah. Do 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 do. I hope I'm not getting into non-DMCAville. I was promised that everything on this list would be. Playing an iPhone. Oh, I think I've been robbed. Have I been robbed? Yeah, I've been robbed. My wifey, no, she robbed me. It's all good. We have ways of dealing with this. We have methods in which we would deal with it. No, I can't listen and choose the music together. I love the sentiment, honey, but I'm streaming right now. I'm streaming and need DMCA free music. Love you. There we are. Let's check our levels. There we are. Okay, coming through, coming in. Alright, so I don't like this here. We're gonna change this color. We're gonna go with the off-wood color here, the apothecary set. And we're just gonna make our own. Yeah, I think that's perfect. It doesn't need to be much. It's like a little cubby. Okay. Go to cutlery. Let's see. Scrolling. We hate scrolling. Some plates. Let's see. Some cups. Silver will go in there. What else can we put down bottom there? Um, Teapot down the middle. I think some towels maybe. I always like doing a good little towel stack. Uh, Honey, I told you I'm streaming. I can't just keep messaging you. Give me a minute. Can't break the train of thought. when the inspiration comes, you gotta run into the yeah, I would agree. They were not that nice. They uh prison and rehabilitation is a new concept. Back then they were just like, would ya? But like back then, like also like like execution and stuff like that was far more common. Um, I think that doesn't really translate so well into our Dungeons and Dragons, right? Yeah, like when the inspiration's there, right, Gail? Like you gotta take it. You gotta jump on it. Don't let it squander because when it's not there, it's the worst. But yeah, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, like yeah, so it's like the a lot of medieval realities don't translate very well into a medieval fantasy game, especially now that it's 2024 and like people are getting much more progressive in general. I think the game itself, D&D 5e, has gotten much more progressive in general, um, which is all good things. Um, but like the nostalgia or the allure of the idea, like the place of a prison is very usable in the D&D world, right? Um, and I always like to when I play D&D, I always have like an assumption of quality of life, right? And what I mean by that is um like if you go back to medieval times, things were hard because they didn't have all these things. Now we come to 2024, quality of life is very nice because we have public water, we have sewage, we have education, we have all these different things in place in society that make our standard of living much better than it was in the past, right? If we had magic, even if we had magic today, right now, that would bump us up, right? Like I don't have to drive to work, I teleport to work. I don't have to have a printing press. I can have a magical quill write for me all day, right? Like you don't have to have a crier in the streets when you have the spell magic mouth. Like there's so many practical uses of magic in the world of business, in the world of like logisticals and stuff like that. Like in my opinion, it would increase your standard of living, right? Like it'd be very realistic, in my opinion, for wizards to try and monetize school in some format, right? Basic education through, books and stuff like that. I think I do crates here. So I personally think it's very realistic to kind of be on in of the persuasion that um quality of life is much better in a magical medieval world, and perhaps because of that, it would look a lot more similar to our world in that regard, right? Globalization would be a thing that happened very early in a magical world, as opposed to us having to wait all these years until shipping transit planes and stuff were viable to be used in such a long distance, right? It completely changes the scope of everything. I think these will be like personal possession boxes, like lock boxes almost. Hey, what's going on, Stormy? Been a while. That's a fair point, but like, yes and no, because things like art and science and like these high thought type things, D&D, like literally the creation of D&D wouldn't exist without these quality of lives and without us having the ability to have spare time. Um, and if you look in the past, like historically, nations that have better working standards or have like longer weekends, they tend to have, more creativity. And like, if the further back you go in time, the more true that is. Like, if your nation's always worrying about, like, the barbarians coming over the hill and destroying your crops every year, you don't have time to make art. You don't have time to be painting pictures, right? But if you live in the center of the Roman capital, and the Roman Empire is as successful as it was in the breadth of its existence, you know, art exists, philosophy existed. Like, those things existed in the centers of large power source centers. Um, and that holds true to, like, to Dungeons and Dragons stuff, like all the stuff that we like, in day to day, which goes to say, like, the more quality of life we have, the more fun stuff we get, right? But I definitely agree, science would look different. It would, like Stormy said, it would skip a couple steps. There would be some things we don't need to know or don't care to know or wouldn't have had to bother with, right? Just because um we have magic, right? Like, we would just skip the step. I think, like, the invention of cars might not exist if we could give everybody inefficient, or not inefficient, inexpensive scrolls of fly, right? Um, yeah, me and Stormy have gone on about this specific topic in the past quite a bit, actually. Yeah, exactly. Water heaters, stuff like that, stoves and furnaces might look different. Um, if we've talked about the ability for people to become magically adept, right? So say you literally use this in one of my as like a background to one of my characters and my NPCs in my world, right? Um, the dude had lost their hand, and they needed a job, so they or yeah, I think that's how I wrote it. They lost their hand in war. They came home. They were a veteran retiree. They needed a job, so they learned basic magic initiate so that they could get the cantrip, um, produce flame, or prestidigitation. I forget which one. So that they can light candles, and they're a vicar. They're the one that goes through the town, and with their one hand, they hook a candle on their off their hip onto their pole. They hang the pole up there, and then they light it with their magic, right? So, like, it's a job that exists for somebody with that is a little handicapped in that sense, and magic would help that. And on that, there would probably be less amputees and stuff, and medicine would look way different because we have magic, right? Well, that's what I was saying a little bit earlier, Stormy, right before you got here. Like, globalization as a whole would happen far sooner in a magical world. Why? Because we can teleport, right? Like, we can travel long distances. There's so many ways to do it. Um, Here's another cute example: a fairy. A fairy might not exist. A fairy might be replaced by a wizard, a lowly wizard who just wants to live a simple life out in the wilderness and sits there and casts Dimension Door for all the people that want to cross the river, right? And they're just like, yeah, I didn't want to bother with the high society of the castle, and I was just like, I'm gonna go live by myself and have a simple job, a simple magical job, right? Oh, we might be in trouble here. The inn's not supposed to have a floor. Yeah, right. Like, and you'd maybe have to staff less maids and cleaners, right? If they had the ability to use prestidigitation, right? Yeah, I don't think there's a way to delete the floor, so we're gonna have to delete this building. I think I'm gonna take a 5. I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta take a little siesta real quick. A bio. Um, here, let you all look at the chapel, which I thought came out lovely. Oh, And are we back? Bada boop. Bum 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 bum. Oh, here. Why is my music off? What happened? There we go. Freaking commercials, man, dude. Just it's commercial life. It's the problem with the world today. Just everything's freaking free commercials or subscription. It's like, yeesh. Yeah, that's actually a fun concept. I like that. We're like some some village of people like saved up their money to go to Baldur's Gate to acquire a decanter of endless water, and they bring it home and they have like an irrigation system that would be very similar to, like someone who lived next to a river, etc. But they just are like, all right, flick on the decanter. There you go. All right, crops watered today. And then somebody comes and steals their decanter, and you have a quest to save the decanter and save the village. Right? Isn't that's a fun, quick idea? It's that easy. Let's see. Oh, okay. You know what goes on here? A ledger goes on here. Ledge. Sledge. Look how big this ledger is. Jesus. We put it here and get rid of that little seam a bit. We mimic the lantern. Okay, and I was like putting a little like customer rug. That's too detailed. I was like using this one. Let's see. Furniture, cupboards, apothecary set. Just want to like throw some on the top. Yeah, some of these. Oh, nice. I can throw them in here like so. Oh, maybe we like copy that. Yeah, I like that. It makes this very desky. Desk-like. That up to here. Ink. Yeah, actually, maybe that's an idea. You, like present this here like so. Put that up there. Move this over a little bit. So then it's like people that come in gotta like sign in to the ledger, right? place. No, 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 it happened. It was perfect. Just want to like poking out just a little bit. No, it's not poking out at all, dang it. Fine. Ah. These are accessory. I'm just wasting my time on these. Looks fine. Stack of papers. Don't like them. Put something there later. I think I'm done on this building for now. I'll come back. Come back to it. Yeah, I agree. I agree to an extent. I feel like there would be places where that is true. I don't think that would be true of everywhere, right? We have large city centers like Boulder's Gate, etc. Like these places are big enough, and like furthermore, like you have underground, right? So like people would still do what they want to do. They wouldn't do it on the table, to that regard, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 by 6 and 7 by 9. No floor. Nice, I have those marker posts that'll help me put it back where I want it to. 6 by 12 plus 7 by 9. Right here. And then they wanted me to add like a stable, which makes sense. which makes the Sensi. The inn would require a stipple. It's generating. Give it a moment. I should also, when this generates, there we go. Let me, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. Shut those clients off. Don't need them. Okay, so I can see. Is that very nice? I'm gonna make a small room over here. Where's the door gonna be? Right where this window is. Let's see. Just do a little 5x5. It's gonna make my brain happy, I think. No, it's not. I think the yeah, that existed already though, without without magic. that my friend was already a thing. Yes, here we go. Two big windows. Well, I think maybe put a door in here. No, not at all. That wasn't even a thing. Like they didn't even want to. Rehabilitation is like a very very new idea. And like even in like the modern prison system, rehabilitation wasn't the goal originally. It's like a very new thing. As far as like we're talking in like centuries worth of time, right? And you're right. Main reason being didn't have the means. Didn't have the means, therefore didn't even care. Uh-oh, these windows look weird now. Nice. Love that. So we'll trim it back to a 4x4. Okay. Do, 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 do my own tiles. Perfect, right where we want the door. A little carpet run to the door. And that brings me carpet in front of that, which is perfect. We love that. Still don't know if I should do the carpet all around it. Because over here I don't know what to do with it. Actually, I do know what to do with it. I do the exact same thing. Yes, that looks good. Make this fit. These go here now. It's like just like a random assortment. They do this in churches, so they just have like a whole bunch of candelabras. This is better than Sims 4. This is like it's like Sims 4 in the meantime, but then when you go back to play D&D with your pals, you got dope map content for them. We do this, and then we're gonna go furniture, tables, maybe a stone table. Probably not. Yeah, right. It's like weird, silly minutia, right? That like exists, but like these are it's honestly these are like the best conversations to have because like you're not going to be able to think about these conversations in the middle of a game, right? These are conversations you need to have in place already so that when the game comes up you're just like, oh, remember that whole conversation we had about prisons and stuff, and I'm running a prison here. Now I know what these guards might feel like. Now I know, what the shape of this prison might feel like with magic, like I know that I can do things a little bit more liberally. And it just comes out like it's second nature almost. So this is what I was talking about. I like doing chest beds. Chest on the bottom of a bed. It's a very common thing people would do. Boom, boom. And like that's where they would keep their things. I feel like this cabinet belongs in here. I feel like a closet belongs in here. Not this big of a closet though. Let's see. Oh yeah, we can do the nice lamps now that we're in here. Yeah, like if you go in like if we step into like Harry Potter lore, like the the prison of Azkaban or whatever it's called, like that would be a very real thing, I think, in magical society, right? Like you would have magical villains that aren't going to be held by normal means. Therefore, you would need a very high security, magically protected prison area to keep these people. You'd also have people that you wouldn't be able to kill, right? There prisoners of war have always been a thing, right? So like that has always been a concept there. So like prisons exist in that aspect, or maybe a king stole a princess and is using them to hold ransom against the other kingdom, what have you. Um, we hate it. I actually don't mind just the open stone floor here. Don't mind it. Um, yeah, there are these new cloaks. Cloak customizable. The whole thing's customizable. Cloak with hat. Did any of them let me? Yes, here we go. This is what I needed. Do we do all white? I got the red theme. Maybe a red hood. Looks a little weird. This is something I try to do sometimes. I do this with rocks. And now I can kind of maybe get like some trim if these line up the right way, but it's not working, so we will not do that. Some white priestly robes. Um, possibly could have been instituted by the church. I mean, at the very least, like the the churches ran everything, so it's very realistic for them to be responsible for most things. And if they want me to, I can add another. Honestly, I just think I should. I think I will. Let me check. Yeah, so inside the gully of that, because I have it flipped. I like the idea of it being smaller. I put the extra housing over here. Let's see. Gonna have to do an open air building here. I think as such. That moves her well a bit. More to the center of town here, kind of. Wish I could make it bigger, but I can't. I really love these rugs. Who did I get them from? I think it's Notarime on the workshop. Super nice pieces. Literally filling the void of like, hey, I can never have that royal rug draping, which I'm using like it's kind of like a religious rug at this point, but yeah, super nice. Fences, what's very stable. This is very stables. Dupe. Ooh, why does it have to put that? I think just cause we're gonna do this. And then we're gonna do this. Just make it entirely smaller. Leave that one. Leave that one. The thing is, it just looks bad with all those posts. So, like, here's me just gonna have to make it myself, you know? I hate how those posts look. They're, like, not necessary. They wouldn't be there. Another thing I don't like to do is double up. So what I do is oops. I don't want two posts here. I want one post combined. It looks better. It's not as chunky. was that? Oh, weird commercial. Weird commercial. Yeah. That's definitely like the old way of thinking when it comes to, and like that way of thinking kind of like existed for a long time. Um, before again, like rehabilitation became a thing, an idea, a concept. Um, mm, very much the idea back in the day was, you know, if the punishment is the threat is big enough, then people won't do it anymore, which we have come to find is not actually true. It is more like a socio-economic issue. Mm, hmm All right, that's the plan. I'm gonna make fake gates because the gates they gave me wouldn't open anyways. Let's see. We just have a whole bunch of wizard vigilantes. I mean, you'd also have like regular adventurers and stuff. It wouldn't just all be magic. It would be D&D. Magic items and stuff. It wouldn't be solely wizards' jobs. Alright, that works. Let's see. Oh, that is true. I have. I was trying to see what this looks like. Some dirt down, and then we'll do bales of hay for feeding. And we'll put some wooden slats over the top of it. Make it look like there's some stalls. And then I should be able to get this just right. So it's coming through here. The tavern is supposed to be a no-floor dirt building, which is definitely going to change the way I have to approach it a bit. A, I had to remake it, but like B, I just think like the look and the feel of it is going to be much different. Yes, but the same thing holds true on the other side. Uh, People who are skilled with magic could be able to remove memories from their brain to avoid being having to tell the truth, right? Uh, there's much more ways for you to avoid being caught, right? But I think it's a back and forth, right? There's always a duality to everything that exists in the world. Yeah, exactly, Gil. You know, so you know there's spells in which you can avoid zone of truth. Gift your gab your way through life. Mm. Oh, look at this door! Whoa, awesome. that fits what I'm going for. Similar ring, similar style. Let's see here. Yeah, more weeds. More weeds. Plenty of weeds to get into. Well, why don't we do... We'll do 4 stalls. Mm. Yeah, it's big enough. Two, three, four. Do I have a horse still? Let's bring them all here. Right there. Yeah, lots of weeds. You kind of at this point you're kind of just getting into more of you know, like what you specifically want for your world that you're running. Okay. All right, it's very stably. Yeah, I got justice wouldn't really make that much sense, right? Justice is, in the eye of the beholder, so all the gods would take justice into their own manner. Water. Okay. I like that. I'll put like a barrel over here. Some stuff. Let's go back to painting. Okay, it's good. Get some dry in here. Little moss in here. To buy Dungeon Alchemist, the program, you mean? Yeah, I think as with most things, it comes down to intent, right? You know, life's very gray, and a lot of times it's a lot easier to try and, figure out what people wanted to happen because what we want to happen isn't always, the end of the case. Now, it doesn't justify everything. Not all means are a justification to an end, but it helps you kind of put together or maybe be in their shoes for a moment, right? There we are. All right, clean edge. You see that clean edge? Looks good. I'll come back to it in a time. Let's get into this one a bit. Yeah, I mean, depending on the jurisdiction, right? If these were free towns, yeah, they would be up to their own thing. I would assume that there would still be, like fiefdoms and territories and kingdoms and such. So with that, there would come a rule of law for said king or said ruler. They would have an agreed upon rule set that would exist, but those would definitely vary, right? Get my cute little paths. Little priestly path. And I guess I'll put like a little garden out in front of it. Maybe the priest is a gardener. There you go. Little path. That looks good. I like these big bushy corners. I'm gonna accentuate those corners for sure. I think next is gonna be getting into the stables here. Furnishing furnishing the inn, and then we're on to the smith. In the stereotypical dwarven country. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Let's see. I'm a big fan of stereotypical goblins as well. Not to say that like other goblins don't exist, but I just like I'm super okay and fine with having goblins be like evil little warmongers. I think they're a great tool to use as a DM. I really like sending them in mass and just like swarming people with goblins. It's my favorite pastime. Reclaim the woods over here. I think that looks fine as is like that. There we are. Beautiful. This is gonna have to be moved way over. I hate that it's not giving me back my flowers and it's leaving it blank. Because you can see the path almost. Yeah, that's definitely one way to do it. I like doing I like using the lore that's there. I like diving into it almost like it's a history book, and I think a better way to approach it is not trying to, consume all of the lore at once and to just like pick something. So like I will pick an area of a map and I'll be like, okay, we're gonna play here. What's everything that's going on here? And then what I do is I pick a very cutesy time frame in which I have a lot of liberty and freedom. So I don't have to have a lot of active plot hooks happening that existed. I can just have them as historical points, right? And I kind of use them as my ammunition to build and worldscape around it, right? So I'll be like, oh, like this place has had, for example, Daggerford's had like 6, 7, 8, 9 rulers in the past, 200 something years, right? And currently has been destabilized entirely in the means of a succubus has been supplanted upon the throne, right? So that just says a lot about what's happening in the region, right? That the region is definitely poor. They're not affluent. They're grasping to what roots they have to make money, which is trade, farming, and like the logistics around them, right? They're not doing excessive things. There's maybe one or two magic item shops, right? Um, Furthermore, you have a very corrupt syndicate that exists in a voting commune of council leaders. So she isn't the sitting king, but she has a lot of power and pull. And how does she manipulate? Well, she gets into the undergrounds, the back streets. She works with the guilds in behind the scenes to get them what they want, so that they vote the way she wants. Right? She might use a little of her charming and stuff as well, but she very much rules from a place of anonymity and being anonymous, I should say, um, but does so maliciously. And so like all that kind of just stem from me reading up the history of Daggerford, which I don't think really takes that long. It wasn't that much time to read up on it. It's more time fleshing out the world, definitely way more time to flesh out the world. Not gonna put an entrance over here. Maybe I put like a small back door. So like my homebrew is homebrew, but it's not like fully crafted homebrew. It's not a world build in entirety. There's a lot of minutia, as you see. Uh, Monsieur Stormy Snow over here can often get caught up in the weeds with the specifics of what they have, because you have to decide everything, right? Um, which sometimes is a lot of liberty. But I mean, I think if you're trying to present a firm product to your players, as in like things aren't flitting and fleeting all the time, and things feel real and like they exist around you. You definitely have to be consistent with what you present, right? What's another thing? I often like to give my players just full lore write-ups. So like I'll give them full definitions in person, like as we play the game and stuff. But then, like after the session, I'll be like, here's the source where I got this information that I just told you about. Read it for yourself, so you can kind of like internalize it a bit more. And I think that really helps, immerse my players in a sense, and it's a lot less work for me when I just say, here, go to fandom, right? Go to this link, this page of D&D lore that here's this excerpt from Swords on the Adventure Coast, right? Stuff like that. Stuff that I don't have to make, that I can use and give. Yeah, I think like Boulder's Gate is a great example of that. I think those commune type areas exist. And like also, it's a very much a matter question of, what era your world is currently in, right? Like, has your world has society existed for a long time? Have things been peaceful? Is this a war torn region? Like all these things kind of go into what your decision might be for the status of the world, right? So I mean, our world history is a very prime example of cultures and races coming together. In the early times, right? We didn't have the means or the necessities to travel to commingle, right? Globalization had yet to happen. Now that globalization has happened more and more and more, we have transportation. We also have like documentation, and like it's a whole program, it's a whole system, right? We encourage it to a certain extent. um, and it's very common for people of other races and cultures to live in other places, and therefore they can procreate, and then things become a bit more blended, right? So the longer time goes on, the further we travel through peace and quality of life and society, right? The closer we get to those things, which I think is something to consider, like when you're trying to make these decisions for your world. Perhaps your world's a new world, and people haven't quite had the chance to live a peaceful commingly life. I think if you look at like old school D&D, it was very that. It was a lot of tribalism and separation, right? A lot of racial undertows when it came to characters and their lives, right? Um, races in their lives, I should say. But I think it's something to be said about D&D is like we like the idea of races. We just don't like the idea of stigmatized races, and definitely don't like the idea of like you trying to make a cutesy idea of like from real life and turn it into somebody like this is representative of this culture, and we're gonna take all the bad things from that culture that we think are true and attach them, right? That's not fun. fairies, goblins, orcs, and half elves and gnomes. That's fun. That's the fun part of it, right? So I think D&D 5e does a much better job, time frame and just presentation and just like the progressive nature of the people that are playing it, um, of presenting that in a much more communal, mutual space of a lot of worlds that I play in. It's very common to see commingling races all over the game. It's not very separate or tribalist, right? Nice. Stack of barrels. Nice. Try to balance it out a bit. Um, Housekeeper tools. Um, I don't know. What else would this need? I think it's good. I don't think I need to overdo it at all, really. It needs to be an open space for horses to be. Cool. Cool. I think I'm gonna call it here. I'm in just about at 2 hours. We finished furnishing this one. We did a little edit here. We got this looking exactly how we need it to look. This looks gorgeous now. I love adding that little vessel right there. And just like every step of the way, this map's just gonna look more and more real. We're gonna add forests around it. We'll add a little minutia inside the townscape here. We'll ruin up this tower the best we can. And we'll just have a beautiful backdrop on this river. All right. Well, thank you, Stormy. Thank you, Gail. It's always a pleasure. Appreciate you stopping by, watching my jazz. Oh, I didn't even know my screen fell. Nobody told me. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I'll be on tomorrow. I got to finish this project. We're about like halfway in it, 6 hours in. So we're going to be powering through, finish up those next couple buildings, and get this thing over to my client and have them happy as a clam with their new map. And then we'll be looking for more commissions. So we'll be out there hustling. I think I got a couple projects I want to get back onto, a couple old projects. Um, I'm all over the place. Yes, take care, Stormy. As always, we will see y'all tomorrow. Peace, peace.